Dona Rosa's herbs. The morning sun beat down on Dona Rosa's backyard. She was crouched down, digging in the dirt with her wrinkled hands, when her granddaughter, Lucia, came running. "Grandma, are you planting more herbs?" asked the girl, curious, as she observed the small clay pots spread across the floor. "Of course, my daughter. These little plants are like nature's medicine. Your great-grandparents used it, my grandparents used it, and I use it too." Dona Rosa smiled, wiping her hands on her apron. Lucia frowned. "But isn't medicine just the one we buy at the pharmacy?" "Ah, Lucia," Dona Rosa laughed, shaking her head. "Before pharmacies, people cured themselves with what the earth gave. And even today many people do this." "Want to learn?" Lucia's eyes widened. "I want." Dona Rosa stood up slowly and pointed to the first pot. "Then let's go. This one is chamomile. Do you know what she does?" "My mother drinks chamomile tea when she has a stomachache." "That's right. And it also calms the nerves. If you can't sleep, a little tea from her will do the trick." Dona Rosa picked a little white and yellow flower and placed it in Lucia's hand. "Smell." Lucia took a deep breath. "Wow, what a good smell. And this other one here is mint." Dona Rosa showed a small green plant with small leaves. "Do you know what she does?" "My father chews mint leaves when he is sick in the car." "Exactly. And it also helps with digestion. If you eat a lot of beans and get gassy, a mint tea will do the trick." She laughed. "But be careful, because if you take too much, you might get sleepy." Lucia laughed too. "And this one, Grandma?" he asked, pointing to a plant with wide, purple leaves. "This is boldo. Very good for the liver. If someone drinks too much or eats too much fat, boldo cleans everything up. But you shouldn't take it every day, just when you need it. Boldo tastes bad." "It really is." Dona Rosa laughed. "But it works. Now, look at this other one, rosemary." "Rosemary? The one we use in food?" "Yes. But it's not just seasoning. Rosemary helps memory. If you're studying and can't memorize anything, a cup of tea can help. And it's also good for headaches." Lucia was impressed. "Wow, Grandma, so much. And there's more." Dona Rosa bent down and picked up a small, green leaf. "That's lemon balm. Very good for calming down. If you're nervous before a test, a little tea from her will calm you down." "Like chamomile?" "Similar, but the lemon balm has a lemony taste." Dona Rosa gave a leaf for Lucia to smell. "Did you like it?" "I loved." "And this one is arnica." Dona Rosa showed a plant with yellow flowers. "Do you know when you fall and get bruised? Arnica helps to de-bloat and the pain goes away faster." "But isn't it just ointment?" "The ointment is made with the plant. But if you don't have ointment, you can make tea with the leaves and apply it to the wound. But be careful, because you can't take it, just use it outside." Lucia nodded, paying attention. "And this other one, Grandma?" he asked, pointing to a plant with thin, long leaves. "This is aloe vera, or aloe vera. Very good for burns. If you burn yourself on the stove, cut a leaf, remove the gel from inside and apply it to your skin. Relieves instantly." "Wow, it looks like magic." "It's not magic, it's nature helping us." Dona Rosa smiled. "Now, look at this one, marigold. Calendula? Never heard of it. It's an orange flower. Very good for the skin. If you have a wound, a bruise, or even a rash, a tea or an ointment helps it heal." "And this other one?" Lucia pointed to a plant with dark leaves and purple flowers. "That's the lavender. In addition to smelling great, it soothes and helps you sleep. If you have insomnia, you can place a lavender sachet under your pillow." "Cool. And this one is the guaco." Dona Rosa showed a plant with large, green leaves. "Very good for coughs and bronchitis. If you have phlegm, a guaco syrup solves it." "But isn't syrup just that sweet thing we buy?" "This syrup is natural. We do it at home." Dona Rosa laughed. "And that other one is the wormwood. Very bitter, but great for worms. If you have a stomach ache from worms, wormwood tea will kill everything. Wormwood must be horrible. And even. But it works." Dona Rosa continued. "Look at this one, dandelion." "Dandelion? The one that we blow and fly away?" "That's right. But he's not just joking. The leaves are good for the liver and kidneys." And the flowers can be used in salads. Flower salad? Yes. It tastes mild, almost like lettuce. Dona Rosa laughed at Lucia's surprised face. And that other one is sage. Very good for sore throat. If you have a sore throat, gargling with sage tea will help. Gargle? Yeah. You make the tea, let it cool and swish it down your throat. Dona Rosa made the gesture of gargling. Lucia laughed. And this one, Grandma? He asked, pointing to a plant with green leaves and white flowers. That's the fennel. Very good for menstrual cramps and also to calm down. If you're anxious, a little tea from her helps. My mother takes fennel when she's nervous. Exactly. Dona Rosa continued. And that other one is the nettle. Very good for anemia. If you're feeling weak, some nettle tea gives you energy. But nettles don't burn. Only if you touch it cool. Once dried or cooked, it no longer burns. Dona Rosa laughed. And this one is lemon balm, similar to lemon balm, but softer. Very good for anxiety. Wow, Grandma, so much. And there's more. Dona Rosa bent down and picked up a small leaf. That's the basil. In addition to seasoning, it is good for headaches and nausea. Basil? The one we use on pizza? That's right. Dona Rosa laughed. And this other one is the yarrow. Very good for healing wounds and also for colic. Yarrow? Never heard of it. It's a little plant with thin leaves, almost like lace. Dona Rosa showed. And this one is the rockbreaker. Very good for the kidneys. If you have kidney stones, a cup of it helps eliminate them. Rockbreaker. The name is funny. It's because it breaks down kidney stones. Dona Rosa laughed. And that last one is stevia. Very sweet, but has no sugar. If you have diabetes, you can use it to sweeten your tea. Stevia. The one we use for coffee? That's right. Dona Rosa stood up and wiped her hands on her apron. So, Lucia, these are some of the plants that ancient healers used. And even today many people use it. Lucia was thoughtful. Grandma, but why don't people use these plants anymore? Because there is medicine ready at the pharmacy today. But often, the natural remedy is better, because it doesn't contain chemicals. Dona Rosa sighed. And also because people forgot how to use it. I won't forget. That's good, my daughter. Dona Rosa smiled and ruffled Lucia's hair. Now, will you help me water the plants? Help. And the two, grandmother and granddaughter, spent the morning taking care of the yard, while the sun shone brightly and the herbs grew, full of life and stories to tell. Lucia took the watering can and followed Dona Rosa around the yard. The smell of wet earth mixed with rosemary filled the air. Grandma, what if we made tea with these plants? Lucia asked, pointing to the mint. Good idea. Dona Rosa laughed. But first, let's see which one needs water. They stopped near the rue. Lucia touched the leaves and wrinkled her nose. This one smells strong. It's to ward off the evil eye, explained Dona Rosa, lowering her voice. But you can't use too much, otherwise it'll hurt. Lucia's eyes widened. Serious? Serious. Everything in excess is bad, even good things. Lucia nodded, seriously. Then he ran to the boldo tree. I know that one. My mother makes tea when Joao has a tummy ache. That's right. Dona Rosa took a sheet of paper and crumpled it between her fingers. Smell. Lucia took a deep breath and made a face. Oh, what a bad smell. They both laughed. Dona Rosa then pointed to a corner of the yard. Look there, Lucia. That's the wormwood. Losna. Never heard of it. It's bitter like gall. But it's great for digestion. Dona Rosa bent down and picked up a twig. Would you like to taste it? Lucia hesitated, but then extended her hand. He bit off a little piece and immediately spat it out. You. What a horrible taste. Dona Rosa laughed so hard that she almost dropped the watering can. I warned you. But that's how it is. Sometimes the medicine is not tasty, but it is good. Lucia wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. I prefer chamomile tea. And who doesn't? Dona Rosa patted her on the shoulder. But each plant has its power. You just need to know how to use it. They continued watering, and Lucia kept asking questions. Grandma, what about that one over there? The one with the purple flower? It's the calendula. Heals bruises and leaves the skin beautiful. And that other one, with the big leaf? Aloe vera. It is used for burns and to moisturize the hair. Lucia was impressed. Wow, Grandma, you know everything. It's not all, no. Dona Rosa smiled. But I learned a little from my grandmother, who learned from hers. And now I'm teaching you. Lucia looked at the plants, then at her grandmother. One day, I will teach my children too. I hope, my daughter. Dona Rosa sighed. Because these plants are like secrets of the earth. If we don't move forward, they will get lost. The sun was already high, and the yard sparkled with drops of water. Lucia took her grandmother's hand. Shall we make tea now? Let's go. Dona Rosa blinked. But first, wash your hands. We don't want to bring the taste of wormwood to our snack, right? Dona Rosa stood up slowly, resting her hands on her knees. Lucia ran to the tap in the yard and turned on the water. He rubbed his hands well, as his grandmother always told him to. And this tea, Grandma? Which plant are we going to use today? Today is mint day. Dona Rosa pointed to a flower bed full of green leaves. Helps calm the tummy and leaves your breath fresh. Lucia plucked some leaves and smelled them. The perfume invaded her nose. What a good smell. Yeah. Grandmother laughed. But don't overdo it, otherwise it will be too strong. They entered the kitchen. The wood stove was already lit, heating the black kettle. Dona Rosa took a clay cup and placed the leaves inside. Boiling water, not too much, otherwise it will burn the plant. She waited a while and poured the water carefully. Steam rose, bringing the smell of mint. Lucia blew on the cup before taking the first sip. Wow, how delicious. It's sore. Dona Rosa sat on the straw chair. The earth gives us everything we need. You just have to know how to use it. Lucia looked out the window. The yard was full of green, each plant in its own way. Grandma, what if one day I forget someone's name? Don't forget. Dona Rosa took her hand. You will remember it by the smell, the touch, the taste. Plants talk to us. We just need to pay attention. Lucia smiled. I wanted to keep every word of my grandmother, like a treasure. What if I don't have a big yard? It is not necessary. Dona Rosa pointed to a small vase in the window. You can even plant it in a corner. Basil, rosemary, rue. The important thing is not to let it die. The kettle hissed again. Lucia got up quickly. I'll get more water. As she filled the kettle, she looked down at her hands. There was still a little dirt under my nails. And he didn't care at all. Lucia returned to the table with the kettle full. Dona Rosa had already separated more dry leaves. This one is the wormwood, he said, showing a thin twig. Bitter as gall, but it cures stomach pain. Lucia wrinkled her nose. Does it taste that bad? He has. Grandmother laughed. But sometimes the cure isn't sweet. You take a sip and you already feel relief. Lucia took the wormwood and smelled it. The strong aroma tickled his nose. What if I don't like it? Then you mix it with honey. Dona Rosa blinked. Or make some chamomile tea afterwards, to take away the taste. The girl laughed. Grandma, you always have a way. That's what life teaches. Dona Rosa picked another plant, this time with wide, purple leaves. This is boldo. Good for lazy livers. Lucia touched the leaves. How do you know which one is for what? Observing. The grandmother pointed to the backyard. Everyone has their own time. Rue wards off the evil eye, but you cannot use it at night. Rosemary calms the mind, but if it boils too much, it loses its power. Lucia's eyes widened. Is there a rule for everything? He has. Dona Rosa sighed. But you don't need to memorize everything today. Over time, you will feel it. The girl bit her lip. What if I make a mistake? Making mistakes is part of it. Grandma shook her hand. I already confused mint with pennyroyal once. The tea was too strong, but no one died. Lucia laughed. What a scare. So it is. Dona Rosa laughed too. But I learned. And you will too. The sun was already lower, painting the yard gold. Lucia looked at the plants, one by one. Grandma, what if one day I need to use these plants for real? Dona Rosa held her granddaughter's face. You will know. The heart guides more than any book. Lucia took a deep breath. The smell of the earth, the herbs, the hot tea. Everything seemed to mix together. I want to learn everything. And it will. Grandma kissed her forehead. But now, let's drink our tea before it gets cold. Lucia nodded. He picked up the cup and blew off the steam. The first sip burned her tongue, but she didn't care. It was as if each sip brought a little piece of grandmother's wisdom. And, for the first time, she felt like she wasn't just a girl learning about plants. She was a guardian. Dona Rosa stood up slowly, resting her hands on her knees. Tea was almost over. Tomorrow we start early. Let's harvest rue before the sun shines. She likes the shade, but needs light to stay strong. Lucia looked at the rue tree in the corner of the yard. The little green leaves trembled in the breeze. Why before the sun shines? Because after noon it loses some of its power. Dona Rosa blinked. And you don't want a weak rue to protect the house, do you? Lucia's eyes widened. Protect from what? Everything. Bad energy, bad eyes, even mosquitoes. Grandmother laughed. But it's not just a matter of hanging it up and that's it. You have to know the right way. Lucia bit her lip. What if I make a mistake? Dona Rosa took her hand. Making mistakes is part of it. Even I made mistakes when I started. I once confused mint with pennyroyal and made a tea that left everyone hiccuping for hours. They both laughed. Lucia imagined her new grandmother, running after her brothers with a kettle in her hand. And how do I know the difference? Smelling. Dona Rosa plucked a mint leaf and a pennyroyal leaf, rubbing them between her fingers. Mint is sweeter, almost fresh. The pennyroyal is stronger, a little spicy. Lucia smelled them both. He closed his eyes. Now I'll never get confused again. Excellent. The grandmother stood up, cracking her back. Tomorrow you can show me if you learned. Lucia nodded, excited. But then he remembered something. Grandma, what if someone doesn't believe? Like, if I say that a plant cures and the person laughs? Dona Rosa stopped. He looked up at the sky, where the first stars were beginning to appear. There are people who don't want to see it. There's no point in forcing. She bent down and picked up a handful of dirt, letting it drip between her fingers. But the plants don't care about that. They do their work, even if no one is looking. Lucia was quiet. He thought about the medicines from the pharmacy, the little white boxes with small print. What if people prefer laboratory medicines? Some will prefer it. Dona Rosa shrugged her shoulders. But others will need something that only the earth can provide. Something that doesn't come in a pill. Lucia looked at her hands. Small, but with some dirt stains. I want to be like you. To help anyone who needs it. Dona Rosa smiled, her eyes shining. You already are. The wind shook the leaves of the plants. Somewhere, a cricket started to sing. Shall we go in? Asked the grandmother. It's getting cold. Lucia agreed, but first she took one last look at the yard. The plants seemed to whisper to each other, as if they were waiting. And she, for the first time, understood what they were saying. Lucia followed Dona Rosa into the house. The smell of dried herbs and fresh tea filled the air. On the wooden table, a teapot was smoking. Shall we have some chamomile tea? Asked the grandmother, already taking 2 cups. Could it be? Lucia sat on the straw chair, still thinking about the plants outside. Dona Rosa served the golden liquid. This one calms the mind. It helps you sleep too. Lucia took a sip. The flavor was mild, sweet. What if I make a mistake? If I don't know which plant to use? Grandmother laughed softly. Everyone makes mistakes, girl. Even me. But the earth forgives. Plants teach. How? They talk to whoever listens. Dona Rosa pointed to the window. Look at the rue. She is strong, but if you take her in anger, she withers. As for mint, it grows even in the tightest pot. Each one has their own way. Lucia frowned. And how will I know? Practicing. Observing. The grandmother reached out and touched her arm. You've already started today. See how the marigold shines in the sun. How does aloe keep water in its leaves? This is learning. Lucia smiled. So can I start now? Of course. Early tomorrow, we will harvest rosemary. He likes the sun and conversation. Dona Rosa blinked. And you'll see how different it smells in the morning. Lucia almost dropped her cup with so much excitement. And then we make an oil. For pain, for memory, for those who need it. Grandmother raised the cup. But today it's just tea. And rest. Lucia yawned unintentionally. The day had been long. The plants, the smells, the stories, everything was spinning in her head. "Shall we really start tomorrow?" he asked, his eyes already heavy. "Tomorrow we start." Dona Rosa turned off the lamp. "But today you have already done more than you imagine." Lucia lay down in the hammock, still with the smell of chamomile in her nose. Outside, the wind continued to shake the leaves. And somewhere, the cricket was still singing. She closed her eyes. And he dreamed of a garden where all the plants spoke. And for the first time, she understood every word.